If you're anything like I was when I first got started on two wheels, you pretty much take your bike everywhere you go. Whether you're going out to dinner or getting groceries or just going out for the afternoon, you'll want to take the bike because it's new and fun and you look cool while you ride. Also, there's nothing like going to the office and plopping your helmet down on the desk and nodding to your coworkers like, yeah, I ride, I'm just that cool, even though you're on a Ninja 250 from 1987 because that's all you could afford. If you're that rider who wants to commute to and from work on the daily, there's lots of things that'll make your life so much easier or more comfortable, and like a lot of our gear list, we've used just about everything on this list and can vouch for how handy they are. However, you might notice one exception on this list, and that is heated grips. Now, it's because heated grips are ridiculously valuable for the daily ride, and unless you live in Southern California or Florida where the temperature never gets above 55 degrees, they are very handy to have, and we basically consider them a must-have on your bike. So with that out of the way, I've selected 7 items including gear and mods that you should be adding to your kit if you want to commute in comfort and style. None of these items are bike specific, or rather you can make these mods to any bike or any piece of gear so that whether you're a leather daddy on a Dyna or a flip-flop wearing squid on a Gixxer, you'll be able to use everything I'm talking about. Jumping right in today with the first and most important thing you can put on your motorcycle if you plan on commuting is a tail bag. Now, I know what you're thinking, Yami, I don't need to spend $100 on a tail bag. I have a Hello Kitty backpack from when I went to kindergarten. I got beat up every day, but Hello Kitty is life. Well, that's just sad, but let me tell you, the single most important thing I have learned in countless years of street riding is backpacks suck. Period, end of story. I hate riding with a backpack, and so do you. You just don't know it yet. And yes, I can read your thoughts. Yes, you're hungry. Go get that snack. You deserve it. But anyway, riding to and from the office with a 20-pound bag on your back with your laptop, your office clothes, your lunch, and whatever other crap you take with you, instead pop all that stuff into a tail bag. When Spite was on his VFR before I saved him from the ultimate nerd energy of such a bike, he had a tail bag that was big enough to carry an entire full-face helmet, and he could pack an entire other motorcycle in there, just like those ADV dads out there. Because it was a Honda and Hondas are dad bikes, the passenger seat had luggage loops which the bag hooked onto. If you don't have luggage loops, you can just run straps under the bottom of the seat and you're all set. If you want to carry more things with you, or maybe you commute to across the Patagonian steppe every day, you can go with a pair of throw-over saddlebags. All you need to do is pop your passenger seat off, throw the straps over the tail, and then lock the seat back down, which will hold the bags in place. If you're worried about them moving around, just use some bungee cords in the front. Yes, they're nerdy, but they're so much better than any backpack. A quick note though, if you must succumb to backpack life and don't have much to carry, look for one with a chest strap. You'll massively reduce the strain on your shoulders and spine, and it will be a lot easier to use. Bonus points for one with a hydration bag too for those long rides in the saddle. Second up for today is a Cardo. Look, yes, they're a sponsor of the channel, and yes, there's a link to go buy one in the description, but I've had a bunch of different comm systems, and Cardo is actually the best. I used to run other comm systems in the past, but honestly, Cardo is the best because they literally invented the category back in the day with the Scala Rider. They're the OG communicator system. But back to the device itself. Nothing's more boring than sitting in traffic with nothing but your own thoughts to keep you company. And yes, I can see your thoughts. I know what's going on in there, even though I really don't want to. The best way to entertain yourself on the bike, aside from twisting the throttle, is to have some music going while you ride. I mean, who actually prefers to sit in silence in their car? Well, you don't have to on the bike either, and no, headphones aren't going to cut it. First of all, most headphones don't protect your hearing like earplugs do, even the noise canceling one. And when you put big speakers in your helmet, you can still hear your Cardo through your earplugs. Just make sure they're positioned correctly over your ear hole and crank the volume up. If all you want to do is listen to music, you can save a little money and pick up a free Comm 1. But if you're thinking about riding with other people at any point, I highly recommend picking up one of the flagship models, the Bold or the Slim. They've got all the cool gizmos and gadgets in there, and most importantly, they have dynamic mesh, meaning that if you're paired up with someone and they get too far away, once they're back in range, they'll automatically reconnect. We use our Cardos all the time when we film, and they're the only way we could do our dual vlogs, even our triple vlogs, and our bigger production videos, and honestly, just having music on my rides is a big bonus. To go with your helmet, number 3 is a quiet helmet. If you're just starting out and you picked up a helmet in the $200 to $300 range, oftentimes those helmets are noisy, and I'm not just talking about the wind going through them, but the vents and face shield. I started out with an Icon Alliance as my first helmet, which was a ridiculously leaky helmet. I never noticed it when I was a beginner rider because I didn't know any different. I always wore earplugs. There's a huge difference in how much wind comes through an entry-level helmet versus a more premium lid. Instead, if you're going to be riding your bike on the daily, spend the money on a helmet that's designed to be quiet. Here's a few things to look for. First and foremost is a tight neck roll. You'll mostly find these on full-face sport-style motorcycle helmets, but what that does is keep the wind and road noise out from the bottom of the helmet. It's easy to overlook that part of the helmet, but try a few on and do keep an eye out for it. One helmet with a famously tight neck roll is the RF1200 if you don't want to do the research yourself. Next, look for those triangular turbulators or wind disruptors or whatever they're called. What these do is break up the flow of wind around seams on the helmet, usually on the top side of a helmet's face shield. You'll usually find these on helmets from Schuberth and the new showy RF1400. Schuberths tend to be super quiet thanks to the turbulators, but they also don't come with a lot of vents, so bear that in mind if you live in Texas like I do. Also, if you're worried about spending a lot of money on your helmet, it is worth it. Yes, price doesn't correlate to safety, but they do tend to be more intelligently built and much more comfortable. Keep in mind the helmet should suit your style of riding and your bike. I rock an Arai XD4 for my daily rides because it looks cool with my Ducati Scrambler Desert Sled, and because it has a tremendous amount of airflow for when I'm riding slow speeds through hot Texas trails and just hot Texas days. It's not the quietest lid on the market, but it fits my needs very well for around town riding, and I like the way that it looks. Fourth, and often overlooked mod you can make to your motorcycle is a better set of mirrors. If you're like me, you can never quite get the right mirror placement with stock mirrors, and sure, you could get some mirror wideners, but trust me on this one, they always look goofy. Instead, look into some aftermarket mirrors. If you're looking for bolt-up replacements to your OEM ones, there's plenty of choices that work better, but the most important thing to look for is a gasket around the outside of the glass to help eliminate vibrations, so you can actually see what's going on behind you. But truthfully, I've had a little bit better luck with bar-end mirrors. Not only do they give you a wider viewing angle so you can see around your arms and shoulders, but they are often convex, which means that one mirror is usually all you need to see everything behind you. Now don't mistake that for me saying you only need one mirror. It's always better to have two so you can see both your blind spots. I know people say that bar ends are hard to see out of because of the vibrations, but chances are they got the cheap Amazon knockoff mirrors, which are really bad. This is another one of those cases where spending more money is actually worth it. If you're still super worried about vibrations, then you could consider getting some anti-vibration handlebar mounts. I wouldn't recommend that just because I wouldn't bother doing it on my own bike, but hey, you do you. Fifth on today's list of commuter gear is a new windshield. If you're riding around on a sport bike, a naked bike, a cruiser, or even a supermoto, they often have some sort of windscreen to help send wind up over your head. Or if you're anything like me, they dump wind squarely into the middle of your chest. This will fatigue you over time, and in the short term, it's just plain annoying. Getting a bigger windscreen is the best way to improve the way your bike moves air. If you're on a sport bike, this can be a pain in the butt to do because you might need to pull inner fairings off and you can't quickly swap between windscreens, so pick one that you really like and just leave it on there. But if you're on any other kind of motorcycle, switching windscreens just takes a few minutes and a couple hand tools. If you can find one that's been designed for your motorcycle, they're often better than universal ones and tend to look a little less dorky since they're meant to be there. But if not, Puge makes a whole bunch of universal windscreens for all different styles of bikes. If you've already got a taller windscreen, but it still directs wind in the wrong place, you can pick up a windscreen extension for a little bit more cash, or in some cases, a lot more. I'm not sure what's up with these guys, but they still think that making a little piece of plastic is worth $150, but what do I know? I just shout words into a microphone on YouTube. The sixth thing you need is a comfort seat. Yeah, you definitely need this one, because maybe you're on a brand new bagger that you spent $40,000 on, but trust me, Harley spent all that money putting more chrome on the bike. They didn't spare a single second to think about your bum, whereas a company that makes nothing but motorcycle seats is a little too obsessed with your butt, actually. There are seats to make bikes taller, make them shorter, make you more forward, move you backward, cradle you softly, or stiffen your seat up. Whatever you want, they make it. The benefit of making your motorcycle fit you better cannot be understated where comfort is concerned. If you picked up a motorcycle and you think the fit is 90% there, don't waste time on a new handlebar or rear sets. Take a look at the seat and see if you can find one that moves you exactly where you want to be. Plus, on your way home from the office, you don't want to sit on some rock hard sport bike seat for an hour, do you? And if you do, what's wrong with you? Lastly, buy yourself a battery with a jump start function. Let me set a scene for you. You're running late to the office and you race out to your bike and it won't start. You try bump starting it, you try plugging it into the tender for a minute, and after 15 minutes of trying, you're no closer to getting to the office, and you've sweat through your nice button-down work shirt. At this point, you might as well just call in sick, but if you had a jump start battery, you can just pop your seat off, push a button on the battery, and be off to work in the cubicle farm. Basically, how these work is by partitioning a chunk of the battery off from a normal use of operation, only to be used to give your bike enough power to get it turned on. You can normally expect this type of functionality on a lithium-ion battery, so you will have to pay a little bit more of a premium for it, but hey, if it makes a difference between getting on the bike or caging it, it's probably worth it. Fact: Flauchinauchihilipilification is one of the longest words in the English language. It is the act of estimating something that is completely worthless. Goodbye.
Hey there, partner, you done made it to the end of this here Yamanoob video, but I tell you what, there's another Yamanoob video right over here waiting for you. Now, I know I'm real gracious like that, and I just do nice things for you, so why don't you take a look at this video, and you let me know what you think.